Hello, everybody. Welcome to 12 Minutes to CLAT. Today we have with us Riti Sengupta. She was All India Rank 14 in NLSAT 2024. Riti, welcome to 12 Minutes to CLAT.
Thank you, Ishika. Thank you so much. It's so nice to see you.
Today we'll be asking her so many questions that I've been getting a lot. How is the 3-year LLB thing at NLSAT? Is it even worth? Is there any tussle between the 5-year Fox and 3 years Fox? We'll be asking all of that. But before that, please tell us your strategy for
Yeah.
NLSAT.
So I did take coaching for NLSAT, which was from a certain coaching institute. But this is a controversial take because I do think that coaching is absolutely not necessary. This is a paper that sort of hinges on your essential reading, writing, comprehension skills, as well as some amount of GK in part A, which can easily be learned, through, let's say, certain kinds of compendiums of current affairs, etc. But I would add that practicing mocks really helps. And mocks is something that absolutely was my main preparation. And I would say that, kind of gave me and certain others maybe some kind of edge because of the constant feedback that one was getting out of those, examination attempts. So, I mean, the mock attempts. So I would say that mocks were very helpful. And I would also say that coaching, yes, does give you a certain fillip up because it's got that kind of guidance that just maybe self-study might not cut. So yeah, because professors and the teachers and the faculty at very good coaching institutes, they themselves have often been through the process. In fact, I remember, Ishika, you telling me that you yourself were you got like I think 40 marks in part
Part B.
B, which
Yeah.
was and I remember at that in that year I think 43 was the highest. So I remember that, thinking that this is such like a high level to breach. So I would think that, you for example are like absolutely on par to, coach for NLSAT. So I mean, people who've been through the process, I feel um just have an upper hand to coach, and that's where I feel coaching also becomes important. So therefore, in terms of strategy, I would say that of course there was coaching, but also never stop like studying for for part A and part B on your own in terms of solving, like, let's say, certain CLAT and previous year NLSAT papers, as well as keeping out a lookout for good quality editorials in newspapers, as well as yeah, mugging up, not mugging up, but at least going over and learning current affairs of the last 6 months at least, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, I feel for NSAT in specific, I think you just need to keep your eyes and ears open throughout the year. I think that's the
Absolutely.
only way because they don't
Absolutely.
ask
Yeah.
you that typical UPSC type of current affairs. I remember once asking what was the highest grossing film of SRK, which is not something you
Pathan,
would read.
yeah.
Yeah, right? No, that's not something you would read in a magazine or in a
Yeah.
JK compendium, right? So
Yeah,
they do ask
exactly.
those questions.
True.
But yes, you have beautifully pointed out how you simply need to just read throughout the year some editorials, of course. You just need to develop critical thinking in a way, right?
True,
I
true.
think that
Absolutely.
that really helps. Yes, yes, yes. Also, do you have any particular strategy for part B as to how they can write their answer? Because a lot of people ask me, is there a specific structure that you follow, or what is it? Please shed some light on that.
So I think this is again a personal take because how you write is also sort of your signature and what makes that answer unique in a bunch of other generic answers. But yeah, I think certain prerequisites have to be there in every answer, which is, of course, the IBC technique, which is introduction, body, conclusion, which is to say that you have a short like introduction, which in one line maximum, because you also have a space constraint and they are very pedantic about that space constraint and all.
Yes.
You have to manage it in that one sheet. So in one line introduces the basic facts of the case, and then in the main body you flesh out your proposition in three arguments. 2 to 3 arguments also work. One, firstly, secondly, thirdly. Or you can do firstly, moreover, furthermore, those words. And finally, you put in conclusion saying that therefore I would say that this side is in the interests of justice deserves the kind of whatever they're asking for in the question, like, in the hypothetical, like they deserve like compensation for damages, etc. But I would also suggest, so in the IBC technique, introduction, body, conclusion, just right at the beginning, right after the introduction, very clearly state which side you are picking, because in these NLSAT hypotheticals they ask you to take a side, and often the questions are very open ended. They don't force you to take a side, so you can sort of take a side. So but it's important to articulate explicitly at the beginning, even before fleshing out your argumentation, which side. So I believe, for example, that Mrs. Anderson deserves compensation in this particular case for the motor vehicle accident. ऐसे करके I'm just giving an example of the top of my head. In fact, this is literally from a mock that I remember doing. But what I'm saying is that certain structure should definitely be maintained, but within those argumentations, you are free to use your own sort of turn of phrase, your own eloquence, because that is what makes it unique. I would, however, say that maybe stay away from too much jargon, too much verbosity, trying to cram in legal concepts, because there is absolutely no requirement to have a prior understanding of the law to attempt this paper. They want you to study the law when you enter, NLS or law school. They don't want you to do it pehle se, from before. So it's always important to just not, because that, I would say, turns off the faculty who's checking it to see some
Yes.
kind of, legal maximum pigeonholed in some way, just to show that, oh, I've studied. So it's
Yes.
always better to just use first principles. Okay, on a basis of, okay, there was a, on the basis of the idea that on equity, on fairness, on justice, this person deserves to have sort of gotten this side versus the other side.
Yes, yes. So basically, what you're saying is they are testing your legal acumen, not your legal knowledge, right? I
Exactly,
think we
exactly.
can put it in one sentence that way, because they're simply testing your critical reasoning, your
Yeah,
acumen for studying the law. They're not testing your legal
exactly.
knowledge, not at all.
Exactly.
Yes,
I would just like to add that they just want to test if you have the bare minimum aptitude to study law.
yes,
So the legal aptitude, as you said, acumen, very
yes, yes,
correctly. And it's not about knowledge. It's just about whether
yes.
you have that sort of aptitude or appetite for it.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. Moving forward, I think yes, GK, you've already told them just read compendiums and everything. You can, of course, refer to your coaching material if you have joined any. But if you're not going for coaching, then also you just need to keep your eyes and ears open throughout the year. That pretty much helps, right? Talking
Absolutely.
about critical reasoning section in part A, you just need to get your fundamentals right. What is an assumption? What's a conclusion? How do you strengthen or weaken an
Inference,
argument?
assumption, exactly. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And I think that would also, first, you need to clear your concepts and then practice. It's all about how much you practice, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Perfect, perfect. Now, there was a lot of questions about how's the 3 year scene, how's the placement for the 3 year LLB folks? Is there any discrimination or bias against them? Because there are rumors that when corporate houses come, they usually prefer the 5 year folks over the 3 year people. So, how much, I mean, is it true at all, or is it just rumors? Please clear some airs about that.
Okay. So, yeah, this is a question that even we sort of grappled with when we entered. And just to attack the first part of your question, which is, how is the 3-year LLB program designed? I would say that having spent 1.5 years in the institution and in this program, it's a very well-rounded program, and it is, of course, considered a full LLB honors degree. So it would be the degree that allows you to practice, for example, and meets the Bar Council's requirements or eligibility criterion to give you that, um, to give you that sort of status of having cleared law school as a lawyer. So all of those procedural requirements are of course met, but even other than that, the kind of courses that you engage with are absolutely crucial to law as a discipline. So you have, for example, constitutional law, you have criminal law, you have, evidence law, etc., arbitration, mediation, conciliation, drafting, etc. So all of these things are, of course, taught in a very similar manner actually to how they are taught to the BLLB children. In fact, there is no discrimination in terms of classes, class hours, assessments, faculty, professors, guest lecturers, etc. And unfortunately, no discrimination even in the academic rigor that is there, which is to say that you are constantly piled under submissions and moot court memorials and assignments and all of that. But in terms of placements, I would like to preface this by saying that, well, the 3-year LLB degree started 3 years back, 2022, and the 5-year LLB, BLLB degree actually started in the late 80s. So naturally, they've had a bunch of decades to get good, and they've had a bunch of years to sort of really build their alumni networks and have people in top law firms represent NLS as partners, at senior associate seniors partners, etc.
Yes.
So that is always there. That kind of safety net is, I would say, prevalent, definitely, unerringly prevalent for the BLLB children. Having said that, because the 3-year LLB over the last 3 years has been performing so well. In fact, I would just like to add here, Rishika, for example, that last year, we had a student from the 3-year LLB from NLS clearing the Rhodes
Both
Scholarship.
scholarship.
Yeah,
Yes.
Vibha Swaminathan. She was our senior. So, the tide is really turning in terms of perception, in terms of how, recruiters and academics and future employability looks at the 3-year LLB in NLS. In fact, the placements are constantly at an uptick from 2022 to 2023 to 2024, and of course 2025 we are yet to see. But in terms of PPOs, in terms of day zero, in terms of the top tier law firms coming, whether it's a CAM or a SAM, trilegal, etc., all of these firms coming, they do come for BLLB, and they do come for the 3-year LLB as well, and they do recruit in large numbers. So there is no discrimination in that sense. I would also, over and above that, maybe go ahead and even say that because the 3-year LLBs, are people who have an additional degree under their belt, which is to say that they have completed their undergraduate degree. Many of them, in fact, if you look at the diversity in my classroom, we have a doctor, we have forest officers, we have, revenue service officers, we have engineers, MBAs, CAs, CS, etc. So all of this is, of course, looked at quite favorably by a recruiter. For example, if you want someone in your tax law team, you would prefer someone who is, let's say, a CA and a lawyer versus someone who is maybe just a lawyer. Of course, this is just my hypothesis, so don't, quote me on this, but I do believe the tide is turning, and I believe that, we are very close. It will take some more time. Of course, it'll take at least like 5, 6, 7, 8 more years. But the gap between the recruitment drive, or at least the opportunities between the BLLBs and the LLBs, are definitely decreasing, and that's the great sign. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much for clarifying all these doubts that students generally, even
Of
we had it in our times,
course,
of
definitely.
course.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, all right, all right. Riti, thank you so much for that. Just tell me a few messages that you want to leave our aspirants with. Just a last message from your side as to how, they can clear this exam or anything. Just a last message from your side before we wrap this up.
Sure. Two things. Number one is that, and I know I hated hearing this when other people who had cracked the exam used to say this to me through videos, but later when I entered, I realized just how important it is. The message being that never focus just on NLSAT. I would say that always have backups. because it is an unpredictable exam, and it does ultimately, at the end of the day, it is a test of time more than anything else. Really, more than anything else, it's a test of time and how fast you can write and think. So do have other law school options available, or open to what you open for something that you want to pursue. Let's say, you can have CUET, PG, sorry, yeah, PG, right? DU Law Fac. You
Right.
could have MA,
MHCT.
MHCT, etc. I mean, there are other, private law options as well. Point is, just don't focus, or don't keep all your eggs in one NLSIU basket, because then it gets a little pressurizing as well when you're writing the paper, thinking that, oh God, if not this, then what? So it's always good to have backups as number one. Number two is, I would say, mocks. Yeah, as you have also pointed out, nothing makes at least NLSAT prep perfect, more perfect than sitting for mocks consistently and going through that entire 2.5 hours of sitting for it. So just diligently do mocks, assess your feedback, get feedback from great faculty like Ishika, etc. I'm sure at the other team as well, and just make sure that you keep that feedback in mind, and apply that feedback when you attempt your next mock, so that that opportunity is just bettered every time. So that's it. All the best, and I'm sure it'll be amazing for all of you.
Thank you so much, Riti, for your sweet and kind words, for your lovely advice. And if you have any more advice, aspirants, you can definitely put it in the comments. I and Riti will both reply to you. Yes, Riti?
Absolutely, no problem at all. Thank you so much, Ishika, for having me.
Thank you so much, Riti. It was lovely, as usual, to have you.
Yeah.